Hello, everyone, and welcome to this new IGEL software release webinar series we do. We're really excited. Today, we're going to talk about IGEL UMS 6.07.100 and ICG 2.03.100. To do that, we have a couple of our product managers. We have Daniela and Florian with us. Thanks, guys, so much for taking the time to do this. This is really exciting, and we're really looking forward to this release.
Okay, so yeah, I'm happy to present you what we have, what new features we will introduce with the release UMS 6.07.100. So, we start with the features and improvements for the UMS console, and later I will hand over to Florian and he will present the progress of the UMS WebApp. So, the first is about a new system information, which is called last contact. And as you can see here on the slide, this information is shown in the section of advanced system information. And it will be updated whenever the device contacts the UMS. So that means it can be triggered by any command, any action, and any communication between the device and the UMS, or just by selecting a device in the UMS. This information is also available as selection criteria, so you can easily create views based on this timestamp. And it's also available in our API to request it via the IMI, or you can export this information with the view export. So the last contact can also be generated with a new heartbeat feature. And I would say the new heartbeat feature is the most interesting or the most exciting feature of this release, because it configures the device to execute a regular signal based on a defined interval. So you can just or easily activate the feature in the UMS administration section. Just go to global configuration, device network settings, activate the checkbox and choose the right interval to send the heartbeat back to the UMS. So it's a global setting. It will always apply to all devices. And it's a perfect feature to identify any device that are not working anymore. And this heartbeat will also trigger the last contact information. A smaller feature, but also an interesting one, is a new search criteria, which is called configuration changes pending. So today you have this little icon in the device list to identify devices that are still waiting for an update, for updated settings. And now that means these devices has not yet get their new configuration. And now you can easily create a view, search for such devices, run any action that is needed to update these devices, and have all devices with the new or with the latest configuration. So it's much easier to identify these devices. The next feature is about cloud installation, and a lot of customers were asking for official support of UMS cloud installation. So we had to work on some code changes to make this happen. But now finally we can support the installation of the UMS Windows Server in Azure and Amazon Cloud environments. So in the first state, it's just the Windows Server. The Linux server will follow soon, and it's currently only for single server installations. All the devices needs to be connected via ICG, and you should use an external database. And for sure, you have to switch to the latest version of the UMS. So some more improvements we will introduce with this release. And one is a new procedure to update high availability installations. So the new process requires a short downtime of the servers, but the process itself is much faster than the process we currently have in place or we have recommended until now. And the new recommended procedure does not lead to any database inconsistencies. If you compare it with the procedure we recommended until now, this process does not require any downtime, which is an advantage, but at the end of the day, it lasts much longer because you have to create a temporary database, and all the changes you have made in this temporary database might be lost at the end. So how does the new process works? You have to stop all UMS servers except one. You start with the update of the first server, and the production database will be updated immediately. Then you can update the remaining servers, and these servers will directly connect to the updated productive database. And at the end, you just start to update the remaining components. On our knowledge base, you will find a detailed step-by-step description for both procedures to help you to update your high availability installation. So another improvement is about the support for Active Directory user group dependencies. You will find now this little option in the Active Directory configuration to include all configured Active Directory domains for search and import of Active Directory users or groups. It's optional, it's not mandatory, but when you activate this feature, you will be warned that this might affect existing user permissions because additional rights may be added. And last but not least, I would like to bring your attention to our offering we have on the Azure Marketplace. It's a template for a pre-configured Linux virtual machine. And this template or this machine is ready for the ICG installation and makes it much easier for you to set up the Linux server. So I would recommend to check this out if you want to set up an ICG environment. Okay, that's all for the UMS, so I will hand over to Florian.
Okay, thanks, Daniela. Hi, everybody. My name is Florian, and I can now proudly present you the new features of our UMS WebApp. But before we go deeper, I would like to take one step back and reflect what we have already reached within the WebApp. So when we started developing the WebApp, our first goal was to cover the help desk use case. The scope was to quickly solve the problem of a user of an IGEL OS device. This means in particular that you can search for devices, you can shadow the devices, and you can perform power control commands. With the 6.07.100, we have now started working on a new use case called device management. The scope here is to manage quickly devices within the WebApp. This includes managing profiles and master profiles, managing files, and also template keys and groups. This will be the roadmap for our next releases. With the 6.07.100, you will find a new section in the UMS WebApp called configuration. You are now able to manage standard profiles and assign them to devices in this section. The precondition is that you still need to create or edit the profiles in the UMS console. On the left-hand side, you have the configuration tree, where you can manage and structure your profiles by adding directories and subdirectories. This configuration tree is totally synchronized with the UMS console. The middle part of the screen contains the profiles of the selected directory. You can filter by name and version. On the right-hand side, you will find more detailed information about the selected profile. You can see and edit the properties of the profile. For example, the name, the description, the version, or the session. The part below has 3 different tabs. The activated settings show all settings of the profile. Again, these settings have to be given by the UMS console. The contained files list all files which are added to the profile. You can easily add new files to the profile by using the quick assign function. The last tab in the menu shows all devices and directories to which the profile is assigned to. By using the quick assign function, you can add easily the profile to devices or directories. Of course, if you don't know the device name at this point, you can go to the device section, search for the device, and assign the profile by using the assign object button. So besides of the configuration section, we also introduced 2 new user rights. To avoid unwanted actions on multiple devices, you can now give users or user groups the permission to perform bulk actions. Additionally, you can give the permission to delete loggings at the logging section. Both user rights are set in the UMS console and are only valid in the UMS WebApp. That are the new features for the WebApp.
Okay, and at the end, we just want to give you a short outlook what we plan for the next release, which is the UMS 6.08.100. So for the UMS, we will work on a lot of security fixes and features to make the UMS much more safer and flexible. But we have one major feature for the next release, which is about the option to create views by text query strings. You can see it here on the slide, so that's its work in progress and not the final state, but it gives you an impression how you can create views and how you can modify views when you, for example, have copied one of your existing views and you just need to change one or two of the information of the values. You can easily do it in this text string. So that's for the UMS console.
Yes, and for the web app, as I said, right now you can manage standard profiles in the web app. And with the 6.08, we plan to manage and structure master profiles in the directory tree. And as an ongoing process, we will, of course, improve our usability for managing different objects.
On that note, thank you all for watching. To learn more, definitely join the IGEL community if you're not already a member. You can also visit our website at www.igelcommunity.com for a bunch of tech resources. We also have videos like this one that you might have even found on our video site. That's videos.igelcommunity.com. And of course, we have an archive site too. A lot of what we do, all the conversation, the Q&A is done within our Slack platform. But we do archive out some of the goodies and we throw that up on archives.igelcommunity.com. So it's a good place to look for answers to maybe a problem you might have or learn something you don't know. So on that note, Daniela, Florian, thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome.